are talking the movie Cryptids from 2023, and this is an anthology movie that stars John Bloom, you may know better as Joe Bob Briggs from Shudder. And Cryptids is the kind of the name for creatures that are studied under Cryptozoology, which is the study of creatures that may or may not exist, that have yet to be formally identified by science. So this is a story that follows John Bloom's character Harlan, who is a radio DJ doing a show, and there are callers that call in telling stories about a variety of different cryptids. It's a relatively short running time, only around probably just under an hour and a half, so it sort of packs him in there. So we have a kind of a wrap-around story, but it is more or less just the kind of the character of Harlan, played by John Bloom, really introducing various different callers. The movie has a sort of tongue-in-cheek sort of style to it. There are sort of comedic elements in this movie. It's not really one that's taken too seriously, so to speak. What's the story all about? What's it like? Let's discuss. So we have, I think, like 6 or so stories. I have to be honest with you, none of them were particularly outstanding. There are probably the ones I liked the best was the final one, which is about a kind of a werewolf, and we have these kind of 3 friends that are trying to prove the existence of this werewolf, basically, although they think it's some type of beast. And one of the friends dresses up to kind of prank the other 2, but ends up coming afoul of a guy with a shotgun who thinks it's a werewolf. And then, you know, what is the kind of the who is the worst monster? Is it man or is it beast? You know, and this movie will answer this question. I do think it has a pretty fun practical werewolf suit. Yes, there is a real werewolf in this movie. And I think the concept is, you know, is a fun one. Don't be expecting too much of the actual werewolf. This little story here is mostly people kind of talking, but when we do see the werewolf, it's pretty impressive. But it still has a goofy element to it, like this kind of hunter guy, this older guy, is for some reason wearing like some stupid wig. And this is what I mean with this kind of goofy feel to it. There's no reason for it, and it's like a real cheap, like, plastic kind of wig, you know. So even this, which I think was the best at the movies, I didn't think was fantastic. There's another one which was okay, was where we have these 2 younger children, and they find this kind of small creature, like an alien possibly, that they knock unconscious when they're playing baseball, and they take it to some guy's house, and they do. We'll just beat it. The actual creature is pretty cool. It's kind of like a smaller imp-looking thing. It has this kind of Stranger Things vibe of a kind of synthy set of soundtrack. There's not much to it in the story, to be honest with you. And that is the thing with this movie. It is kind of like a, you know, not a lot of actual story in it. The other one I didn't mind was, I think, the second one, where we have a group of 3 people who are lost in the woods, and they kind of run afoul a load of kind of Sasquatches. This one, I suppose, was taken the most sort of seriously, and you know, it's a pretty nondescript story in regards, but still the kind of the monster effects were quite cool. And there's some kind of reasonable gore here, and this one, as I say, takes itself a little more seriously than the others. But yeah, it was a kind of a fun, you know, short-lived kind of running away from the Sasquatch film. Generally speaking, all the kind of the practical effects, bar one, are kind of practically realised, and they are on the lower budget side. I do think they are still quite fun, to be honest with you. And then we have a variety, some of which are kind of lesser known creatures, like Melonhead, which is basically kind of like inbred mutants. But we do get like a Chupacabra one. You know, we get kind of like a Mothman sort of appearance towards the end, and Bigfoot, as I've mentioned, werewolf. So there's a kind of a mix of lesser known and sort of ones that I suspect have just been made up, to be honest. But they all kind of fun, practical kind of VFX for the most part. There is some pretty good gore in this film. Practical makeup again. The movie has a kind of a lighter tone. Some are more comedic than others. Some are out and out goofy. But they all have a sort of tongue-in-cheek sort of vibe to it. So if you just want a bit more of a, you know, comedic edge to your horror anthologies, this might be the one. And I did quite like some of the kind of the music in some of these kind of movies as well. But on the negatives, I mean, even the best at these movies I didn't think was outstanding. I mean, they're all of kind of like below or average quality films, to be honest, average quality short films. And some of them are just like plain annoying. There's like a kind of like Gillman one, and it's so over the top goofy. I mean, I think the idea is that this Gillman is making people kind of hallucinate, but we just have this like these eccentric characters who are just like so over the top. It's just way too goofy. None of the stories are particularly sort of complex, and I know in a kind of a short form in regards to segments of an anthology that can be problematic, but a lot of anthology movies, you know, they'll have that kind of like the little kind of twist and stuff. That's not really the case here. This is just kind of people like running into little monsters, and that's basically it. And there's not really any sort of, oh, that was a clever kind of like, you know, small sort of story or short story. There's nothing really like that, to be honest. It is just basically people running into some creatures, and that's pretty much it. The creatures are fun, but it is a lower budget movie, and I have to be honest with you, I think the acting is relatively poor. I mean, because it's a short film and there's different actors in each movie, obviously there's plenty of actors here, and some of them do okay, but there are some performances here that are on the lower budget side. Let's just kind of say that. I think if you like kind of creature features and practical VFX, that some of the fun VFX here I do think, you know, is worth a watch, and because it's a anthology all about cryptids, we do get a variety from the big beastie like the werewolf at the end movie, on kind of that smaller kind of like creatures, and they are quite fun, and it does have a little bit of variety because of that. But ultimately I think the actual stories here are really lacking, and the budget is lacking, and the acting is subpar, generally speaking, although there are a smattering of actors that I think do an okay job. Ultimately, it's a pretty forgettable anthology, but kind of okay if you don't mind sort of lower budget fare and you just want to kind of watch some fun practical VFX and some gore. I'll give it a 5 out of 10. Have you seen it? What did you think of it? Leave me a comment, and I shall look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.